They are one of the few bands who have never lost their true identity over the years, with a powerful political speech which distinguished them above everyone else. The band created a unique sound that no one else has been able to replicate. Rage Against the Machine was a sonic manifesto that spoke to a generation hungering for change.
Organizers, activists, public defenders, teachers, the presidents of Chile and Finland have all spent time in our mosh pit.
This is their story, by Chilebootleg. On January 3rd, 2024, drummer Brad Wilk made an unexpected announcement that surprised everyone and gave rise to speculation about the band's future. I know a lot of people are waiting for us to announce new tour dates for all the canceled Rage Against the Machine shows. I don't want to string people or myself along any further. So while there has been some communication that this may be happening in the future, I want to let you know that Tim, Zach, Tom, and I will not be touring or playing live again. I'm sorry for those of you who have been waiting for this to happen. I really wish it was. Let's delve into their past, explore the influences that molded them, and uncover the collaborative effort that forged them into one of the most popular rock bands of the 90s.
I was always influenced by the early DC punk scene, Minor Threat, and Teen Idols, and Bad Brains, and Scream, Government Issued, all those bands that I was really into, and I kind of brought that into the style of the music. It just kind of came together. We started generating ideas, recorded like a 12-song tape, within a couple of months of us getting together and playing, and it just kind of really, came together.
It was in Los Angeles in the late 1980s and early 1990s that the members of Rage Against the Machine initially made contact. Tim and Zach met each other in 5th grade. The singer of Rage played a pivotal role in Tim's musical journey, providing him with an introduction to the fundamentals of music and the bass guitar.
In Orange County in Irvine, and it was near the University of Irvine, UCI, and Zach lived in the apartment complex there at UCI, and I lived in the neighborhood that was right next to it. And Zach de la Rocha knew how to play guitar, and he was really good when we were kids, and no one knew how to play guitar. He showed me how to play bass on an acoustic guitar, and I remember him pressing my fingers down on the frets, you gotta push really hard on the frets, and it kind of hurt my hand, and I started playing on just a regular nylon string acoustic guitar, learning how to play, never mind the bootlegs.
Zach was a member of the hardcore band Inside Out, active from 1988 to 1991. The band released a 7-inch EP titled No Spiritual Surrender, which came out in 1990. Despite the separation, they had material prepared for a second album intended to be titled Rage Against the Machine.
Zach came up with the name. Zach played in a hardcore band called Inside Out, and it was originally going to be the name of the next Inside Out record, but it seemed very appropriate for the kind of music we were playing and the attitude and the politics that we're coming across. So.
It's always exciting at the beginning to be right there when it starts, and that's why we're so glad to have this band here tonight, making their network television debut. They got a brand new album, Geffen recording stars, Lockup. Let's get them.
Before the existence of Rage, Tom Morello was in a band called Lockup. The group was active for approximately 3 years and released only one album. After the band disbanded, Brad Wilk, who had previously tried out to be their drummer, was promptly contacted by Morello. They both initiated the process of crafting and making songs, which would subsequently become part of Rage Against the Machine. At the same time, Brad received a call from Eddie Vedder asking him if he would like to be the drummer of Pearl Jam. In the meantime, John Knox, a former Lockup member, suggested to Morello that he could collaborate with some old friends for the ongoing music project. These friends turned out to be Zach de la Rocha and Tim Commerford.
Brad actually went away for a while to join the beginning version of Pearl Jam. While Brad was away, another drummer introduced me to Tim and Zach. Right. So when Brad finally came back, eventually the four of us got in a room, and it sounded like Rage Against the Machine, really from the get-go.
The band embarks on recording their first demo tape in December 1991. The demo triumph quickly paved the way for the band to secure a record deal with Epic Records. The label company promptly took steps to support the band's growth and strengthen its presence. Many of the tracks on their debut album include controversial lyrics, to the point where various US radio stations banned them. However, in Europe, the situation was different.
You couldn't play most of the songs on that record. Killing in the Name was the first single, and you couldn't play it here because it had 16 views in one motherfucker. Meanwhile, in Europe, with MTV and radio had sort of different stipulations, the band was blowing up, embarrassing the US company here.
Right.
Released on November 3rd, 1992, the band's debut album coincided with the United States presidential elections. The album cover featured the powerful image of Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thach Quang Duc self-immolating in Saigon in 1963. The photograph was captured by Malcolm Brown. Their self-titled album was produced by Garth Richardson, and it was certified triple platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. The album reached #1 on the US Billboard Heat Seekers chart and secured the 45th position on the US Billboard 200. The group also was the opening act for House of Pain. Soon after, Rage Against the Machine received an invitation to join the Lollapalooza tour. Their debut album saw a nearly four-fold increase in sales thanks to the impact of this tour.
Lollapalooza is, it has its pluses and its minuses. As far as rock tours go, it's a great one because there's a lot of bands with integrity, a lot of really good bands on the tour, as well as there's a political forum where people can exchange views and kind of a debate forum, and they can learn and listen. I think that's really a progressive thing, as well as a lot of really good sort of cultural exhibits and things like that. On the other hand, it's still a rock tour, and our big conflict on this is we haven't been selling any t-shirts because we normally sell our t-shirts very cheaply, and Lollapalooza won't let us undercut their their $23 t-shirt, so that's been a conflict. The Cokes are $3, so there's elements of it's one part Woodstock, one part Bon Jovi tour, all at once, and we just but for us it's been a great opportunity to reach a lot of what I think are intelligent and open-minded people out there.
You wanna witness some change in the counteract? We gotta take the power back. We gotta take the power back.
On July 18, 1993, the tour reached JFK Stadium in Philadelphia. The majority of the audience was unaware that throughout 15 minutes, Rage Against the Machine would take the stage completely naked with their mouths taped shut and the letters PMRC painted across their chests. This action was a direct protest against censorship enforced by the Parents Music Resource Center. Amazingly, there were no songs performed during the show. Instead, the crowd got to listen to an endless guitar feedback coming from the speakers during the whole act. Tim Commerford and Tom Morello recalled that within a few minutes, the audience started hurling coins at them. This led them to swiftly leave the stage and seek refuge in another band's tour bus. After concluding the Lollapalooza tour, Rage Against the Machine made a significant impact in Europe, leading to a second return later that year to participate in various festivals and headline shows. Subsequently, they resumed their activities in the United States, touring with Quicksand in Cypress Hill. Between 1994 and 1995, the band played about 20 times, with the majority taking place at various festivals across Europe. Despite rumors hinting at a potential breakup, Rage surprised everyone by making a comeback with a new album. Their second studio album was released on April 16, 1996. Evil Empire swiftly claimed the top spot on the Billboard 200 chart, boasting an impressive debut with 249,000 copies sold in its inaugural week. The album was produced by Brendan O'Brien.
Musical guest, Rage Against the Machine.
Just a few days before the release of their new album, the song Bulls on Parade made its debut on Saturday Night Live.
We have a great show. Rage Against the Machine is here.
Originally slated for a two-song performance, the band faced a setback when their attempt to hang inverted American flags from their amplifiers. This act was a response to the presence of Republican presidential candidate Steve Forbes as the guest host that night, resulting in their planned performance being reduced to a single song. According to the Los Angeles Times, Morello recalled, "Saturday Night Live is supposedly this cutting-edge show, but they prove that they're bootlickers to their corporate masters when it comes down to it. They're cowards. As one might expect, they were never invited back to the show.
I'd like to thank Rage Against the Machine.
In 1997, Rage Against the Machine participated in U2's popmart tour as the opening act.
Opening up on the first leg of this tour is the Los Angeles band Rage Against the Machine.
One of the things that we were insistent on was we got full use of the PA, which bands don't always get when you open up for a big band like U2. So all the sound will be there.
As usual, all profits generated by the band were contributed to various charitable causes.
I think we're gonna rock the hits. You know, we've got, you don't come out with some kind of arty, kind of Grateful Dead jamming set when you open for U2. You gotta kind of rock the hits.
Afterwards, Rage Against the Machine commenced the United States tour with Wu-Tang Clan. Regrettably, the rappers had to be removed from the lineup due to their non-appearance at one of the shows and internal conflicts.
How about this story with Rage Against the Machine? You like the combination? It's a great ever-slave combination. It's like a slave marriage. My man Zach, I like what he's talking about.
It's important that people realize that there have to be bands out there like the Wu-Tang Clan and even more gnarly bands like the Ghetto Boys that say things that you don't want to hear, and you have to fight for those people because that's what censorship's all about.
The enemy is racism. The enemy is oppression, sexism, and homophobia. We're inviting you all to come down here this evening to get involved in a struggle against that.
Everybody coming supporting Wu-Tang Clan, people coming supporting Rage. You got people supporting Rage, gonna start supporting Wu-Tang Clan, and Wu-Tang Clan starting supporting Rage. It was just fresh. It was just awesome. That was a combination, man. RZA joining it was just symbolic of just like any other.
We got our man RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Following the tour, the band took a hiatus of over a year to concentrate on crafting their new material. On July 1999, Rage Against the Machine made an appearance at the 3rd edition of the Woodstock Festival, which was marked by organizational controversies.
Woodstock 99. It was going to be the biggest party on the planet. But that's not what any of us remember it for.
It all comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Rage Against the Machine.
The festival was tarnished by challenging environmental circumstances, excessively priced food and water, inadequate sanitation, violence, and multiple fatalities. Their third album, The Battle of Los Angeles, hit the shelves on November 2nd, 1999. It received a Grammy nomination for Best Rock Album, while the track Guerrilla Radio clinched the award for Best Hard Rock Performance. Remarkably, the album soared to the top of the Billboard 200, selling a staggering 420,000 copies within its first week. This album was also produced by Brendan O'Brien.
With these new songs, there's no other feeling like that. I think that that's kind of why we do what we do.
For the first time since we've been a band, we're playing new songs and seeing kids respond more so than songs that have always been the highlight points in our set. It's unbelievable. Like, you have to rethink everything.
You say that this is going to be your best album yet. Why?
It's our heaviest record. It's our funkiest record.
Funk and punk rock fuels my fire, straight up.
We've come together as a band, both personally and musically, in a cohesive way that we haven't really had since the early days of the band.
We already play it better than it is on the record, which is what Rage is all about. It's like performing live and making the live performance be better than the record.
I'm so psyched about it. I can't wait for all y'all to hear. You fans of rock and rap music mixed together, you don't know what you are in for.
In the year 2000, before concluding their tour in the United States, Rage Against the Machine performed throughout Europe and Asia. On September 7th, the band was involved in a controversy when they were invited to perform Testify at the MTV Video Music Awards.
Rage Against the Machine bassist Tim Commerford was arrested after he disrupted the show by climbing part of the set.
The minute I sat down, it became clear that I wasn't going to win, considering you guys had the cameras already on the winners before they were even announcing the other people that were in the category, and I thought that was both.
And the winner is...
In my mind, I visualized the whole structure on the ground, you know, and the next time they came out from commercial break, I wanted people to see destruction.
This guy is rock and roll. He should be getting the award.
It was just one of those things where, like, once I was up there, it's like, wow, now what are you going to do?
To be honest with you, I thought it was a beautifully honest act of frustration.
My reasons, but my personal reasons, totally personal politics.
Tim C. spent one night in jail, pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, and was released on time served.
And jail is always an experience for me.
I'm a huge Rage fan, and I guess that is Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine.
I remember you at the VMAs.
Yeah.
When you climbed up.
Yeah.
Tonight's the VMAs here. How do we make it more fun?
Well, I wasn't trying to make it fun. I was protesting because Michael Moore, he made our video for Sleep Now, and we were up against some idiot who made some dumbass video, and we actually lost to them. And at the time, that was a pretty uncomfortable thing that I did, but it's aged well, and I'm so proud of it.
This particular event served as a crucial juncture in acknowledging the strained dynamics within the band. Zach De La Rocha and Tom Morello advised Commerford against his actions and felt let down by his behavior. A month later, De La Rocha announced his decision to leave the band, expressing his sentiments in a statement. "I feel that it is now necessary to leave Rage because our decision-making process has completely failed. It is no longer meeting the aspirations of all four of us collectively as a band, and from my perspective has undermined our artistic and political ideal." This represented the band's initial break since its formation in 1991. The band's final performance took place at the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles on September 13th. A few months later, their latest studio album, Renegades, was released. This album exclusively featured cover songs.
Technically, this is an album of covers. If you didn't know that these songs were originally written and recorded by other artists, you might swear they were Rage originals. Working with super producer Rick Rubin, the band has completely made them their own.
Each guy in the band picked 3 songs from the list of 60, and that became the 12 songs that we ended up recording.
You know, I'm getting chills when I listen to songs, and I just like the way the lineup is on the record, and it's like the way the songs run into each other. It feels real good.
It's not bonus track. It's not, European B-side. This is an awesome Rage Against the Machine record.
This would be the final studio album released by the band prior to their second breakup. Renegades achieved platinum status, but the band didn't embark on a tour to promote it. It appears that Zach was dissatisfied with the creation process of the recent album and chose to dedicate his efforts to different projects and work along with other musicians. Finding a new singer and carrying on with their music were Tim, Tom, and Brad's priorities. Rick Rubin recommended Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. This new musical journey became known as Audioslave.
It's one of those dream band situations that a musician thinks about. Like, wouldn't it be great if I just met these guys that I get along with, that are on the same page as me musically, and it seems to be just effortless to write a bunch of great songs.
Rick Rubin was actually the one who suggested that we get together.
So Rick and I decided we're going to go talk to Chris and see what he thinks. At the time, I'm driving, still being punk rock, I'm driving my 1985 Chevrolet Astro van. And now Rick doesn't leave the house unless he's in a Rolls Royce that's in another Rolls Royce. So we drive up there, and the one thing about Chris's vocals and his lyrics, there's a spookiness to them, and there's a sort of a darker side to them. And so I don't really know what he's going to be like. Rick and I pull up, and the doors, the doors open straight up Addams Family style, like with nobody opening the doors. And here comes Chris, 6'2" of frame, dark of countenance, and he comes kind of slowly loping, down the steps. And Rick turns to me and goes, "Let's get the out of here."
A rehearsal got scheduled to where we were going to go meet Chris Cornell. It was more than just, for me at that time, it was more than just we're going to jam with Chris Cornell. That in itself made my hair stand up.
But I got there and figured I'm going to know within 10 minutes. And within 10 minutes, I knew that it would be great. But I stuck in there for maybe an hour and a half. And then they were ready to just keep going, and I stopped and said, I think we can be a band.
You know, the first time that we jammed, there was a chemistry between the four of us that was there, and that is not an easy thing to find. You can find someone who's great, but when you put them in a situation, if the chemistry's not right, it's not going to be good.
It doesn't matter how many records you've sold, how famous you are, how big you think you are. When we're in a room like this writing songs, that doesn't help you.
You know, like that song Like a Stone was, you know, it's a few simple chords, but allows Chris's beautiful voice to soar.
The chorus is, I'll wait for you there like a stone, I'll wait for you there alone. And I was like, well, yo, bro, what are you waiting for? And he's like, waiting to die.
And I've always felt like the impression that a person gets from the music and the lyrics is what they get. That's what they own. How it makes you feel and the images that it helps you create are yours.
We ignore the idea of money or fame or record sales.
It's easy to be creative in an environment when everyone is very supportive of each other and there's a certain amount of respect for one another. That goes a long way when you're trying to make music. And we had that.
Yeah, this band is willing to try any idea and give it its day in court, so to speak. Like, if you bring in an idea, it's going to become a song. There's no stress. There's no worrying about maybe somebody shooting down your idea and then you feel embarrassed, and so maybe you won't bring in the next thing that comes to your mind. So it's very free that way, and that I think has just lent itself to just a very relaxed, sort of raw rock record.
Audioslave was active from 2001 until 2007 and put out 3 studio albums. It also received 3 Grammy Award nominations. Unfortunately, Chris Cornell passed away on May 18, 2017. Some rumors of a possible Rage Against the Machine reunion at Coachella Festival started to circulate after Audioslave wrapped up their tour. Rage was the headline performer on the last day of the festival. Between 2007 and 2011, the band toured less frequently compared to previous years. During 2009, John and Tracy Mortar, a couple from England, launched a remarkable successfully campaign to push the song Killing in the Name to the summit of the UK Christmas singles chart, providing an alternative to the usual dominance of X Factor winners. The band wholeheartedly backed this effort, contributing the proceeds from the song sales to charity.
It's the Christmas #1 for 2009, Rage Against the Machine and Killing in the Name.
As a culmination of their achievement, Rage organized a free concert at London's Finsbury Park on June 6, 2010.
When we heard about the campaign and the way it was progressing and stuff, it took us all of 30 seconds to decide. I called Tom, we talked, are we gonna do a free show? I said, yes. And Tom said, good. So we're like, easy as that. Yeah.
And then it happened.
Yeah. And then it happened. You know, when we get together and play and we make a decision to do something, we follow through with it. You know, and in this case, it was just obvious.
It seems like the tensions were still present at this moment. Taking this into consideration, the band decided to remain silent regarding any questions about a new album or tour or anything related with Rage Against the Machine.
Truth be told, this might be the last show we ever play. That's the way I always look at it. You never know if this is going to be the last show we ever do. I never know.
The band stopped performing live once more, almost like a curse. Even though Rage Against the Machine never officially broke up, the band's final performance took place in 2011 at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum in California. By the year 2016, Morello, Commerford, and Wilk opted to venture on a new project alongside with Chuck D and DJ Lord from Public Enemy and Be Real from Cypress Hill, creating Prophets of Rage. Morello quoted, "We're an elite task force of revolutionary musicians determined to confront this mountain of election year bullshit and confront it head on with Marshall stacks blazing." During its 3-year existence, Prophets of Rage released 1 EP and 1 full-length studio album. The band stopped touring in 2019, marking the precursor to the third and final reunion of Rage Against the Machine. In November 2019, there was widespread speculation regarding the band's potential reunion for the 2020 edition of the Coachella Festival. Initially, the band announced their public service announcement tour set to run from March to September 2020. However, the COVID-19 pandemic forced them to postpone and reschedule their plans. After an 11-year hiatus, the band returned with a performance in East Troy, Wisconsin on July 9, 2022. Once more, the band finds themselves needing to suspend their plans as vocalist Zach de la Rocha has sustained a leg injury, resulting in the cancellation of the upcoming tour dates. Another setback occurred at the end of 2022, when bassist Tim Commerford revealed to Spin magazine his battle with prostate cancer. In 2023, the group received the prestigious honor of being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. However, Tom Morello was the only band member present at the ceremony, leaving fans wondering why the other band members weren't present. In January 2024, Brad Wilk's statement via his Instagram account stunned everyone with the announcement that Rage will not be returning to the stage for live performances or other projects related with the band. On February 22, 2024, in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, Tim Commerford addressed a few Rage-related issues. He stated, "There's 4 people in the band. I'm just 1/4 of Rage. I've spent the last 2 years healing. And there's 4 people that all are living. Brad just had a brand new baby. Also, Zach ruptured his Achilles tendon. You can't even go on a plane when that shit happens. That's a fact. The healing process, as you can see in sports, takes a long time. I'm the bass player. I just wait for someone to tell me what to do." Brad said what he said, but he's 1 step above me. He's in the number 3 spot. I am the low man on the totem pole. That's all I can tell you. I'm the bass player. Bass players always are the last people to find out about shit like that. Nonetheless, their powerful music continues to resonate strongly across generations. We hold on to hope for their potential return. Thanks for watching. Let us know which band you want to see next. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below. This video was made by Chilebootleg.